Summertime and the living is easy. Hello everybody, it is July and it is time to read some books, which I do all the time. It's not just because it's July, but anyway. Hopefully there's a really boom, 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 hitting it beat behind me. So I'm going to try to go through this pretty quick. My last couple TBRs have been very long, and I also have a lot of repeats on here, so I think we can get done with this pretty quick. Famous last words. Here we go. First of all, Return of the Crimson Guard by Ian C. Asselmont. I've said I was going to read this book like 20 times, so I'm going to read it, okay? I'm going to read it in July. I've made up my mind. We'll see, maybe. Next up, in a similar vein, I've said I'm going to read this in June. Couldn't get to it. Fool's Fate, which is the final book in the Tawny Man trilogy. I've actually already started. I'm 250 pages in. It's great. Both of those books are semi-spoilers if I talk anything about them, so I won't, except to say that I'm going to read them in July, probably. Next up, this is a little fun. I'm going to be listening to the book The Lightning Thief, the first book in the, I almost said the Hades trilogy. What is it called? Percy Jackson and the Olympians book series. I don't even know how many there are. This is fun though because my eldest niece, is now at the point where she is starting to read fantasy, and she just learned about the Greek gods, and she really enjoyed it in her 5th grade class. And so I was like, hey, you should read this book. And she's like, oh, that sounds fun. I said, hey, I'll read it with you. So this is the first book I get to read with my little niece. And that's going to be really fun. So I'm going to read the audio of that so I can talk with her about it. And I'm really pumped about that. Next up is a nonfiction book, a sort of autobiographical book by Leo Tolstoy called A Confession. I showed on one of my recent book hauls that I got some more Tolstoy. He is, not a lot of people know this, maybe I'll make a video about this. He's incredibly influential in the nonviolent movement across the world for social change, from Mahatma Gandhi to Martin Luther King Jr. to Ferguson. He is a big part of that, for good or for ill, depending on your views of those movements. I don't mean I'm siding with the racists here. I mean there's a debate within those who want social change, whether it is more a revolutionary need for things or nonviolent. And even King himself came towards, especially the end of his life, unfortunately, obviously ended prematurely, that he wasn't sure if it was nonviolence was the only answer, but part of the answer. So maybe I'll do a video on this. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But anyway, I'm reading his book called The Confession, which is about his religious upbringing and some of his thoughts about why he was who he was, and it's fascinating. Highly recommend so far. I'm reading it kind of slowly, chapter by chapter at a time. Part of the reason I'm doing that is because the next book on my TBR is The Death of Ivan Ilich, which is actually the first Tolstoy I'm ever going to read. I read a ton of Dostoevsky. In fact, I've read most of what Dostoevsky has done. The two kind of fathers of Russian literature, obviously, Fyodor Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy. I really want to read some more Tolstoy because he seems like such a fascinating guy. This is my first little nibble into it as part of my Year of Short Classics, and this one is co-hosted by Christy, or Dostoevsky in Space, obviously a big lover of Russian literature. We're going to do a live show on this at the end of the year, so follow Christy if you haven't. And be excited for our live show and reading along. This book is so short. I think it's 100 pages. There's no excuse for anyone. You should read it. Other read-alongs I have obligations to is the hashtag Scala-along with Chris at Chris Bookish Cauldron. We are on The White Road, which is the 5th book in the Night Runner series, and it's supposed to be very, very good. I really liked Shadow's Return, which is the last one, so I'm excited to get to this next one, again, because it is a sequel. I can't talk much about what will or will not happen in there, because I'll give some stuff away, but it is not too late to join the hashtag Scala-along. These are very short and fun books, so you should join us. Come, join us. Join us. Join us now. Next up, The Grace of Kings, which is the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. The 3rd book in this series is coming out, which is the 2nd to last book, and the 4th book is supposed to come out early next year. So they come out pretty quickly together. I heard a lot of good things about this, but also, I shouldn't say a lot. I've heard good things about this, but I also haven't seen it talked about a ton. And so I kind of want to resuscitate and get into it and talk more about it. It just sounds like very much like something that I would really, really enjoy and love. High epic series that sort of brings a lot of themes from Eastern Asia into modern Western tropes and sort of combines them in what is to be a very powerful, seems to me, for a lot of people, combination. We'll see. I'm going to give it a try. Excited to start. Gracie Kings is the first one in that series. Finally, another nonfiction that I will get to once I finish A Confession by Dostoevsky is a book called The Color of Law. Actually, I have it over here. One second. Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. This is about the history of redlining in the United States, how the government supported segregated America, and how it still trickles into today, and even potentially some ways that that can be overturned. I, like most Americans, live in a city that was redlined for much of its existence here in Rochester, Minnesota, and so I want to find out more about that and see if I can be involved in righting that historic wrong. And the first way to do that is to correct your ignorance, often purposeful ignorance in the case of us white people. So interested to read this book. It's actually pretty short as I'm looking at this, it's like 250 pages, a ton of great footnotes, so I'm excited to get to that. So that's my big reading list for July. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it. We'll see. I'll do my best. That's all I can do. I think that's it for now, so let me know what you're reading in July. Do you like any of these books? Have you read any of them? What do you think I'm gonna like? What do you think I'm not gonna like? Let me know in the comments below. Please share this video, like this video, subscribe. Why aren't you subscribed? Come on. All that said, first in, last out. I'm in a weird mood. Weird mood. Seriously, it is so short. Read it. Death of Ivan Ilich, read it. Read it with us. Read it.